Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Last time we discussed the first two paragraphs of the essay, The Rule of the Road by A.G. Gardiner. Now the next. Liberty is not a personal affair only, but a social contract. It is an adjustment of interests in matters which do not touch anyone else's liberty. Of course, I may be as free as I like. If I choose to go down the strand in a dressing gown with long hair and bare feet, who shall say me nay? You have the liberty to laugh at me, but I have liberty to be indifferent to you, and which heaven forbid, or wearing a tall hat, frock coat and sandals, or going to bed late or getting up early. I shall follow my fancy and ask no man's permission. Now let's try to understand this. The author says, liberty is not a personal affair only, but a social contract. Social contract. So liberty is not a personal affair only, but a social contract. Social contract means agreement. Among the members of a society to cooperate for social benefits. Social benefits. So agreement among the members of a society to cooperate for social benefits. This idea says that we give up some of our smaller liberties. We give up some of our smaller liberties. So that we can live together in a society. That is why the author says, liberty is not a personal affair only, but a social contract. It is an adjustment of interests. This means we have to take care of the comforts of others. So it is an adjustment of interests. We have to take care of the comforts of others. In matters which do not touch anyone else's liberty, of course, I may be as free as I like. If our freedom does not interfere with those of others, we may do as we please. Now the author gives some examples. If I choose to go down the strand in a dressing gown with long hair and bare feet, who shall say me nay? Now, one may choose to go down the strand. Strand means a fashionable street in London. A fashionable street in London where a number of roads meet. A fashionable street in London where a number of roads meet. So one may choose to go down the Strand, a fashionable street in London where a number of roads meet, in a dressing gown, and he may have long hair and bare feet. Bare feet means without shoes. Nobody will bother and nobody will question such people. You have the liberty to laugh at me. You can laugh at me, but I have the liberty. But I have liberty to be indifferent to you. I have the liberty to remain indifferent, unconcerned, and which heaven forbid, may God save, or wearing a tall hat, frock coat and sandals, or going to bed late or getting up early. I shall follow my fancy and ask no man's permission. These are a few things that ask no man's permission. One can follow one's own preferences and ask no man's permission. In all these and a thousand other details, you and I please ourselves and ask no man's leave. Now, in all these matters, in all these details, we do not have to take permission from others. We have a whole kingdom in which we rule alone, can do what we choose. So we may choose to be wise or ridiculous. We may be wise or ridiculous, absurd, harsh or easy, conventional, traditional, usual or odd. We may be strange, but directly we step out of that kingdom, our personal liberty of action is restricted by other people's liberty. But when we interact with others, we have to take care of others' comforts and feelings. Now the author gives another example. I might like to practice on the trombone from midnight till 3 in the morning. If I went on to the top of Helvellyn to do it, I could please myself. Now the author says, if a man blows trombone on the top of a mountain peak, trombone is a musical instrument. A musical instrument. And Helvellyn, a mountain peak in Wales. So, if a man blows trombone, a musical instrument, on the top of a mountain peak, say Helvellyn, a mountain peak in Wales, nobody would bother about the person or the noise made by him. But if a man plays on a musical instrument in the streets, his neighbors can ask him to stop that because the sound interferes with their liberty to sleep in quiet. There are a lot of people in the world and I have to accommodate, I have to adjust my liberty to their liberties. The author reminds the reader that there are a lot of people in this world and adjustment is the key to liberty. We are all liable to forget this, and unfortunately, we are much more conscious of the imperfections of others